honest, Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Ever wonder how far you could go with a bachelor's or master's degree? Metro State University is hosting 2 open house events in October. Learn about their bachelor's degree programs on October 20th. Explore master's degrees and doctoral degrees on October 23rd. At the open house, you can attend a session about financial aid and receive help from financial aid staff. Discover how Metro State can help you take the next step in your career. Sign up today at metrostate.edu/open house. You belong at Metro.
All My Relations Arts presents Matrilineal Memory by Hopi artist Michaela Schaefer. This powerful exhibition blends painting, poetry, and installations, inviting reflections on memory, culture, and healing. Join us for the opening reception Thursday, October 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. at All My Relations Arts on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Matrilineal Memory runs October 16th through December 13th. Experience the unveiling of an exhibition that speaks to the heart. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, showers possible with a low of 48, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 59. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit cut again.
All the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also recent happenings that wounded me.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanda Ade. Hey, welcome. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, I'm always pleased to have our friend Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Emerge Wisconsin on, and I know you've been a little under the weather, and I really appreciate you coming on. And, geez, it's getting kind of gloomy here in the Twin Cities. It's good to see you, and happy day after Indigenous Peoples Day, Arvina.
Yes, happy Indigenous people day after Indigenous Peoples Day too. I hope you got presents from all your non-native friends, so they could show their appreciation to you.
Right. Just walk into a store and pick something out, maybe.
Just appreciate me.
Right. Exactly. Wow, a lot going on, and I'm glad you're on today. I just have to really give out a quick prayer, and maybe we can talk a little bit about that, because I think some of it has been reported that Trump's cuts have really affected our relatives in Alaska with the weather and the tsunami, not tsunami, but typhoon, I believe it happened there. And I just wanted to mention that and bring that up to our listeners that our relatives up in Alaska are dealing with a lot of things.
Yeah, I believe that the typhoon Typhoon Halong. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I couldn't find a pronunciation guide for that. But it's called or caused a lot of flooding in western Alaska, and I know that one person has been confirmed to have has died from the flooding, and that there are 2 people missing at last update. And there is it's a lot of very small villages and villages that have a lot of indigenous residents. And we're not hearing anything about it in the news. I doubt our president even knows of what is happening. So I'm not holding my breath for adequate and support, or adequate funding and support from FEMA, from the federal government generally. And the fact that the places that are affected are fairly remote. I mean, certainly remote compared to cities and communities around here in Wisconsin and Minnesota. You can't be like, oh, my house is flooded, maybe I go stay at a hotel. Or you can't be like, well, this weekend we're gonna hit up Home Depot, we're gonna borrow a sump pump. Those resources are not readily available, just because there's the villages are so small and far from major population centers, and that just is going to make the recovery so much harder. And I'm afraid that it's going to come down to a lot of financial support from people that are just giving, that hear about it. And again, there's so much happening now. There's so much happening in the news for us to be concerned about that, news outlets are not reporting so much on this tragedy that is affecting, a large area, but fewer residents. So it's not, because it's so sparsely populated. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking in circles around this, but
No, you're doing great.
devastating.
I just want to jump in too. Western Alaska needs your help now, and I'm reading off associations of village council presidents in Typhoon Halong, and they need many people are sheltering in schools. Rescue teams are working around the clock, and freezing temperatures are setting in. And if you can look that up, Google Alaska. And give to the Western Alaska Strong and disaster relief and Typhoon Hagel. Check it out, Google it. They need your help. And again, I agree 100% with all these other things going on. And we just wanted to mention this, Arvina and I, to our relatives up north that really need our help.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of like emphasize, like a lot of these towns and villages don't even have roads to access them, that they have to be accessed either by boat or plane. They are at sea level, so and their permafrost is melting, which is causing the sea level to rise. So it's just such a it's just such a confluence of factors that came together that makes this typhoon so disastrous, and why the impact is felt so strongly.
Exactly. Hey, I want to switch gears too now a little bit. Really excited about what's happening with Israel and Gaza. I just want to remind everyone, and Arvina, we know this too, that this was Biden's Biden's plan when he got all the women out, 148 people were out. And if you notice, nobody that was released were women this last time around. And so I want to give the Democrats a shout out for what's happened in a good way. It reminds me a little bit, being old, Arvina, I remember these things. What happened when Reagan was running for president against Carter, and he told the Iranians to hold on to the hostages until after the election. And so it's all smelly and stinky, but that's for real. And I don't know your thoughts on this. It's good news, but also we have to really remind everyone that the Democrats had this exact same plan.
Yeah, and I think that stinky is a good way to describe a lot of what is happening. That is not to diminish the accomplishment of getting the remaining Israeli hostages released, the living ones. I do believe that they are also returning the bodies of several of the hostages that died while they were being held captive. So while not a happy reunion, at least their families have their loved one back, and are able to care for their bodies and take care of them the way they need to. And there were also at least 1,000, I believe, Gaza Palestinians that were exchanged as well as part of the deal, and I'm sure that their families are also overjoyed at their return. And I think that we've got to think about the good that these families are being reunited with their loved ones. But I do think that everything that happens going forward, it's very tenuous. We don't know how long this ceasefire will last. And as you bring up Reagan telling Iran to hold on to those hostages until after the election, I absolutely would not put it behind our president to think and work towards a solution that benefits him the most, as opposed to doing the most good he could do. A broken clock is right, sometimes, and this time he got a win.
Yeah. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Merge Wisconsin. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Ever wonder how far you could go with a bachelor's or master's degree? Metro State University is hosting 2 open house events in October. Learn about their bachelor's degree programs on October 20th. Explore master's degrees and doctoral degrees on October 23rd. At the open house, you can attend a session about financial aid and receive help from financial aid staff. Discover how Metro State can help you take the next step in your career. Sign up today at metrostate.edu/open house. You belong at Metro.
All My Relations Arts presents Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer. This powerful exhibition blends painting, poetry, and installations, inviting reflections on memory, culture, and healing. Join us for the opening reception Thursday, October 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. at All My Relations Arts on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Matrilineal Memory runs October 16th through December 13th. Experience the unveiling of an exhibition that speaks to the heart. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are with our friend Arvina Martin, Executive Director of Merge Wisconsin. And Arvina, I wasn't paying attention to the clock. I wanted you to be able to finish off your thought, and then we'll get into some more. But really interesting things going on here politically, and it's good news, but also we have to pay attention like always.
Yeah, and I think we're all hoping for a peaceful process as this ceasefire continues, and that negotiations again continue to move forward, and that I'm sorry, it's just so overwhelming. This is such a huge issue, and I find myself having a hard time speaking about it a lot, just because there are thousands of years of context. But what is happening is truly awful, and the Palestinian people are suffering, and it's so hard to parse out, in some ways, I should say. I mean, because obviously genocide's not good,
Right.
and what is happening has been labeled a genocide by many organizations, and several countries from the UN have condemned it as such. But a lot of, unfortunately, that struggle becomes co-opted by people who want to get rid of Jewish people, who hate Jewish people, and then nothing, things get reduced to if you are supportive of Palestinians people to self-govern, that you are anti-Semitic,
Right.
and unfortunately, there's so many people out there, and a lot of talking heads, and a lot of leaders, not the talking heads, of course, but talking heads generally. And they are taking this as an excuse to espouse even more terrible rhetoric against Jewish people. And
Right.
it's terrible, and it can be hard to talk with nuance about it in certain ways when the issue is killing Palestinians, and the ability of a people to self-govern.
Right, exactly. And
So
it's hard for me to talk about it only because I believe most of the Jewish population are not for their leader, and that's kind of like, here in the United States we have 75 million people that aren't for the leader, that voted against him. So it's really hard because we have governments doing things that the people don't like, and that genocide is one of the things that I'm sure the Jewish people do not like, and most of them for sure do not want that.
absolutely, there are folks in Israel that are stuck in a situation similar, obviously a different scale, and it's similar to what we are dealing with our president. And there's not a mandate. There are a lot of Israeli citizens that are very disgusted and denounce the actions of their government the same way that we do. And unfortunately there are also Jewish people that are like accosted or threatened
Mhm.
because of their religion, and they might not even have a like they might not be Israeli themselves, they
Right.
might not have the same connection to the country, let alone citizenship. And unfortunately, unfortunately, and Native people, we see this too, of
Mhm.
people being judged by their government, or an entire ethnic group judged by the leadership. I mean, we're familiar with that. And there are things that I think Native people can relate to on both sides.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
which I hate using. Again, I'm struggling to come up with the words to, be thoughtful, but and this is such a large scale problem. This is huge.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
am I certainly don't want anybody to take my words as that I'm diminishing anything that is happening. But there are a lot of victims of this, and those victims don't just live in Palestine, in Gaza, in Israel. There are unfortunately a lot of effects felt by people that are not directly related to the situation.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
really hope that people kind of are understanding like how I'm speaking about this. Um,
Mhm.
I don't want people to think I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth on this.
Well, it's
You
it's
know,
so complicated, and I don't believe you are at all, and you're just speaking the truth, because it is complicated in many ways, because I know Native Americans, generally speaking, feel for Palestine because of the way we've been genocide tried here in the United States, but in the other hand too,
absolutely.
Hitler used what America was doing to Native Americans to the Jews in Germany. So, I mean, that's how complicated it is for us to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, and let me reiterate again. Genocide is awful, and
Right.
even be having to say it in such a way makes me feel, again, awful that we are not able to convey a lot of these thoughts with this nuance. And there are
Mhm.
people that say, well, you're for the Palestinian cause, you must hate Israel, you must hate
Right.
Jews. And that is
Mm.
not the case. you
Right.
know um I
Exactly.
again
No, you're coming through loud and clear. I wanna
okay.
segue too real quick. No, you're doing great, and one of the things I wanted to segue to is that, this weekend here all over the country, No Kings Rally is gonna be happening, and, over time, there are so clever people, I mean, that are putting up, protest, signs, and then we have Portland, and, with people wearing costumes and
Dog.
things. Yeah.
I-
But we also have the other side of that where, we see Politico put up, about all this rhetoric that the right-wing young ones are putting up, and that's just insane.
Yes, I know I had just sent you that text about it
Mhm.
before we went live, about this article in Politico,
Yeah.
about a chat of that from like Telegram, I guess. And
Mhm.
these messages were leaked, and it was full of racial slurs, full of anti-Semitism, full of Islamophobia. I mean, any phobia, like like fear of any kind of people. If you are not a straight white cisgendered, Protestant male, they were probably talking smack about you in this
Right.
chat.
maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. And I really I want to come up with some the posters. There was one that came up. I can't remember how it went exactly at the No Kings rally at the state capitol, but it was hilarious. I took a picture of it, and I think he said something to the effect that there's too many issues to put on one poster. But he did it more clever than I'm saying right now. Maybe I can bring that up in the next segment. But yeah, Arvina, I the last segment was, it's hard to discuss, but we're all human beings, and we all have empathy for victims and people that are being victimized. And I think that's the most important thing that we take away, no matter who they are.
And I also, before we leave, I also want to say that if you are someone that is empathetic, and I am way more empathetic than I should be, I get sad at, old toys being abandoned and, stuff like that. But like a situation like this puts those kinds of feelings on overload. And a lot of people shut down, and it can make it even harder to talk about, because talking about it hurts your soul.
Yes.
And I guess I don't know how much better to say that. But we do need to keep talking about it.
Absolutely. And that's why we love you, Arvina, and love you on the show too, is that you are our sensitive bearer. And I feel the same way. I really do. And great talk. And that's get back next segment here. And then last segment too, we're going to talk a little sports, because things are happening in Wisconsin that haven't happened in a while, and so we'll lighten up the load too. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back with Arvina Martin.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
All My Relations Arts presents Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer. This powerful exhibition blends painting, poetry, and installations, inviting reflections on memory, culture, and healing. Join us for the opening reception Thursday, October 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. at All My Relations Arts on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Matrilineal Memory runs October 16th through December 13th. Experience the unveiling of an exhibition that speaks to the heart. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Ever wonder how far you could go with a bachelor's or master's degree? Metro State University is hosting 2 open house events in October. Learn about their bachelor's degree programs on October 20th. Explore master's degrees and doctoral degrees on October 23rd. At the open house, you can attend a session about financial aid and receive help from financial aid staff. Discover how Metro State can help you take the next step in your career. Sign up today at metrostate.edu/open house. You belong at Metro.
Hey, it's Tom. There's a war being waged on clean energy. A bill in Congress could eliminate the 30% federal tax credit for solar by the end of 2025. And once it's gone, it may never come back. Fossil fuel giants and their MAGA friends in Washington want to kill green energy. But you can fight back. Going solar with All Energy Solar isn't just smart, it's a form of resistance. You choose where your money goes, not to utility companies, not to fossil fuel billionaires, but toward clean, renewable power for your home. A system from All Energy Solar works in Minnesota year-round because it runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the dead of winter, you're generating electricity. And All Energy Solar helps you save with every rebate and incentive available. This is the moment to act. Waiting means risking with this tax credit and giving the upper hand to MAGA Republicans. So get your free consultation today at allenergysolar.com and take back your power.
Across Native communities, tradition and connection guide every step. Make voting a tradition, or MVAT honors that spirit, helping generations come together to shape the future of Native communities. By learning from each other and sharing knowledge through trusted relationships, MVAT helps build trust and make sure Native voices are heard. Voting is more than a right. It's a way to protect the needs of your community and build the future you want. Vote together. Stand together. Learn more at makevotingatradition.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, showers possible with a low of 48, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 59. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We were with our friend Arvina Martin, and Arvina, I want to switch gears a little bit here. There's some positive things coming out of Minnesota, and I know I have Shelley Buck on the show every once in a while, and I know her as she's an enrolled member of Prairie Island Indian community here in Minnesota, but she was president of their nation for 6 years, tribal council, and she's just a doer, and she is going to be running for office today, and that's kind of your jam to talk about how exciting it would be to have another Native American here in Minnesota. You know, what we've noticed over the years with our Native community that's been elected is that one of the things, there's a burden on them, of course, explaining things to the other legislators about Native sovereignty, but also we've had a lot of great things done because of representation. So we're just excited to have Shelley run for, I do believe it is the Minnesota House, yes.
That I may have made excited noises when I saw that text from you, Robert, about her candidacy. You know, that is one thing that I remain very jealous about with, you know, our Wisconsin Minnesota friendly rivalry. The fact that you have serving Native elected leaders, and more than one, and that they've been around for a while, you know, is so cool. And you know, I agree that when you are when you're underrepresented, you know, a lot falls on you, and a lot of emotional and mental labor. But the cool thing is that you get to lead by example. And, you know, when she wins her House seat, she will be able to model that the proper way to work with tribes. You know, she obviously, not just being a citizen, but a former elected leader of Prairie Band, you know, has a very large base of working knowledge on how to appropriately work with tribes, and just her doing that sets a really great example for Minnesota's other legislators, not to mention legislators across the country that deal with Native people. And that's so exciting. Is it a lot more and a larger burden emotionally and mentally to carry for a Native candidate and a Native elected? Absolutely. I know that when I was on city council, I was always really, I wanted to be very, very careful about how I served and how I was elected, or how I, you know, led in Madison, because I was afraid that if I did something wrong, that could poison the well for Native candidates running for anything. And so I worked very hard. When we would do things with the Ho-Chunk Nation, I was very clear about my affiliation with the as an enrolled member, as a citizen of the Ho-Chunk Nation. I was actually asked to, if I thought I should recuse myself on an issue regarding an intersection. Perhaps you remember that the interstate near the Dajope area, Madison Ho-Chunk Gaming location. And I
know exactly what you're talking about.
I made very clear when I was speaking that if from an equity issue, that this intersection was the intersection most traveled by any Native person in the city, because we had so many tribal members, Ho-Chunk or other tribes that worked for the casino that had to go that way. And it was an equity issue. But there were some that questioned me on that and asked if I needed to recuse myself. And then I would have to go and explain the levels of, distance between decisions made by Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison, which I have no affiliation with other than being a tribal member. And then, how I don't really get to make decisions on how that money is used, that nothing changes, and I had to explain why I wasn't recusing myself, because if that were the case, then I would have had to recuse myself for any issue involving the Ho-Chunk Nation.
Right.
It's like, what? Yeah.
That was a dangerous road too, until
very dangerous.
For everybody, not just Ho-Chunk, right?
Oh yeah. I remember being so scared, especially at night. Having to navigate that intersection, it was terrifying, and I hated doing it every time. And I love that you can, take the off ramp and go around, and they named a road over there Mahinch Way. Mahinch and it's spelled like the way Ho-Chunks would spell it, it's with our alphabet. And Mahinch is our word for milkweed. The plant. So the first time I had to go and then kind of like turn around at that intersection, I saw Mahinch Way, and I was like, oh, yay! But being a member of an underrepresented community, when you have to go in and into these spaces where there are, you're in a position of power, there's conversations, and you are at the table, there is a lot more that you carry with you. And that's why we need more of us elected to these offices, because it helps take that burden away. I also think about how amazing it was for Sharice and Auntie Deb to be sworn into Congress at the same time. I mean, what a gift that they had, that they were able to commiserate and go through it with each other and go through together and have each other's support. And it also brought us that amazing moment where now former Secretary Holland came and reserved her seats for the State of the Union with a Pendleton blanket, or a Pendleton style blanket. And
good memory. Memory.
That's one of my favorite memories. She did it like we all save seats, like put down your blanket, and it was awesome. It just made me so happy.
I had Ruth Anna Buffalo on when she was a representative in North Dakota, and now she works here in the Twin Cities at Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. She's the CEO there. But I'll never forget the picture of her kind of giving a fist pump, wearing her regalia. I feel like that's such an iconic picture too, with her fist pumping and wearing regalia after being sworn in.
Absolutely. I know exactly which picture you're talking about. And, that picture and the fact that she won, the fact that she was sworn in wearing her regalia, and
Yes.
then finding out that one of my relatives is related to her too. I got to like meet her and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Indian country's small. But it just, those images are so important to, and we need to have those images being present in all fields, STEM fields.
Mhm.
Let's have some Native people at the Large Hadron Collider, and it's just, yeah, those pictures make me really happy, and that representation makes me happy.
Well, and two, you being the first Native American city council person in Madison, you're huge too. And I just got to say this, Arvina, too, because we kind of had a really an emotional last segment. I want to tell you how important you are to me, but also to me especially, but I know our listeners, about what you bring to this show, and not only the energy, but the knowledge. And I just want to say that to you right now, because it's just, we are blessed to have you talk about these things to our community, because I believe you articulate it so well. And during Native Roots Radio, this is probably one of the 2 days, but for sure one day when you're on, that we can talk about what's happening politically to our Native community and our relatives on Turtle Island. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you and having this conversation. And I also want to just segue to Emerge Wisconsin, because I know the last segment we're going to talk a little sports and it's going to go quick, but let's talk again about your success with Emerge and an update and how people can reach out to you and donate and find out more.
Yes, we are active and we are recruiting. We are looking for folks that are considering running or thinking about running for office to apply for our 2026 class that will be starting the first weekend or the last weekend in January. Our applications are open until November 14th. You can go to wi.emergeamerica.org to navigate to our application link. And there it is on the screen right there. And I want our voices heard at all levels, and I want to help people on their journey to political and electoral success, and then serving with distinction and with the integrity and honor that we know that we as Native people have. It's really exciting. If you've ever thought about it, you should absolutely take a chance, send an application. You can email me at Arvina, ARVINA, at emergewi.org. If you have questions, even if you don't live in Wisconsin, I can help direct you to whether it is other Emerge training programs, because we do training programs nationwide, or to communities or organizations in your community that can help you. And we are having our step forwards. If you go and check out our social media on Facebook and on Instagram, you will find information for our next step forward, which is a free training that we offer. It's 1 hour long, and you can think about and learn about how to make that choice to run for office, what seat you want to run for, and when you want to run. And how to prepare yourself for that big moment when you announce your candidacy.
All right. Well, I want to say a little bit more about that when we come back, and then we'll get into sports. Thank you, Arvina. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back with Arvina Martin.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune into Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Ever wonder how far you could go with a bachelor's or master's degree? Metro State University is hosting 2 open house events in October. Learn about their bachelor's degree programs on October 20th. Explore master's degrees and doctoral degrees on October 23rd. At the open house, you can attend a session about financial aid and receive help from financial aid staff. Discover how Metro State can help you take the next step in your career. Sign up today at metrostate.edu/open house. You belong at Metro.
All My Relations Arts presents Matrilineal Memory by hobby artist Michaela Schaefer. This powerful exhibition blends painting, poetry, and installations, inviting reflections on memory, culture, and healing. Join us for the opening reception Thursday, October 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. at All My Relations Arts on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. Matrilineal Memory runs October 16th through December 13th. Experience the unveiling of an exhibition that speaks to the heart. Learn more at allmyrelationsarts.org.
The Minneapolis Police Department is hiring, and we're looking for people ready to lead, serve, and reflect the communities we protect.
Whether you're a new graduate, changing careers, or already in law enforcement, there's a path for you to join our department.
With top-tier pay, full benefits, paid training, and a direct path to making a difference, this is more than a job. This is your chance to shape the future of Minneapolis Police.
Choose service. Choose leadership. Choose Minneapolis. Visit our city website to learn more.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio. Arvina, sometimes we're on our affiliates' tight clock, so I would like you to just mention the last couple minutes of what you said in the last segment about how to get a hold of you, and also what was important too is that if you're listening to this, which I know people all across Turtle Island are listening to this show, there are other Emerge places that you can help guide them to in different states.
Absolutely. Emerge has affiliates in 27 states across the country. And we also do trainings at the national level. So if your state doesn't have Emerge, or you can't make the trainings that your state offers, there are virtual signature programs, which is the one that we will be starting in 2026 in January. You can find out information about us at wi.emergeamerica.org. Again, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly at Arvina, ARVINA, at emergewi.org. Trust in yourself and know that your voice is important, and your point of view and your lived experience as a Native person is valuable, and is important to making sure that Native people are considered when creating policy that affects us and that affects other people. We have a different worldview than a lot of people, and it is absolutely valid and needs to be considered when lawmakers are discussing and voting on policy that affects us.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing that. I just wanted to make sure, because some of our Wisconsin clocks are pretty tight, and I know we're pretty chill here in the Twin Cities at the mother station, but I want to make sure that last bit was put out there again in the universe. Hey, let's talk a little bit about your Packers here, 27-18 victory. You got to be happy with what's happening here.
Yes, I am happy. I'm also glad that there are no more undefeated teams in the NFL, so we that monkey is off the back, so we don't have to think about that anymore. I almost kind of prefer it when my team loses, not the first game, but maybe the second or third game, so they don't have that chasing perfection on their mind, and because I think that gets then you get stuck into your plays and you don't make things happen in the moment when they can happen. But and also, as somebody who grew up a Wisconsin sports fan in the 80s when all of our teams sucked.
Well, not the baseball. The Brewers were good.
The Brewers went to the World
World
Series
Series?
last in 1982 when I was 2 years old. So like I don't remember that.
Okay, sorry.
You know, unfortunately. So like, you know, I am really excited, and I kind of prefer it when my team has to be scrappy the whole season rather than cruising through. Because that's how you find out what you're made of. And you know, like this is the early part of the season. If you think like I love sports movies and like
Mhm.
you know, like cool. I mean, and I'm talking about like the Cool Runnings and Rudy, and movies like that. I love those, and my derby team knew me because I'm currently taking time off for injury. Hopefully, it doesn't equal retirement, but
No.
yeah, but you get to that certain point of the season, and it's all the work that you just have to keep pounding away at it and keep putting in that work, even though things are hard, and even though it's like that point in the season where everything hurts, but you still have like half a season to go. And I always call that training montage time. You know, when they show the athletes and the team members putting in the work, lifting weights, running on ice.
Kind of a Rocky montage, huh?
Yeah. And so like, you know, we're not quite to that point in the NFL season where it's training montage time, but we're getting there. And again, I think that a team that has to be scrappy learns a lot about themselves as players, and they learn a lot about their teammates as players, and are able to and have to put that trust in each other in a way that teams that just cruise through, like if we're talking about Cool Runnings, the Swiss, you know.
Well, hey, I got to say this
Yeah.
again. I think last time we had a deep conversation about the Pack was how impressed I am with the quarterback, and I was not convinced, but I am convinced. I really am convinced, and we can talk heavily about the Packers because the Vikings had a week off. So, but I'm convinced.
Yeah, no, I think he's great. I think, you know, he's got several, you know, good options like Romeo Dobbs, and he also has Tucker Kraft, the guy that grew up on the Standing Rock Reservation and actually had a Standing Rock flag on his helmet last season. I don't know if he still has it. I hope he does. But that, you know, he's like the white Steve from Reservation Dogs. Tucker Kraft is the Packers' white Steve.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So your kicker's injured though. He's got a serious quad injury. So you guys gotta have another kicker come in the meantime. And there's people floating around that have kicked. I'm not sure what the update is, but there's sometimes the games end up with a last minute field goal. So it is a thing, but they do have time to get somebody else in there.
Yeah, I just looked it up as we were talking. I take it back. I did know that our primary kicker was sidelined. I didn't know it was a quad injury, and I'm cringing in like, you know, recognition of that pain, because that's a big muscle to have broken. But you know, Havrisik is the guy that they called up. He seems to be doing okay. I don't recall. I can't pronounce his name quite yet, but you know, I mean, those are the kind of opportunities that you get when a team has to struggle a little bit. You know, somebody new comes in, and maybe he's like, you know, I'm thinking of a young Brett Favre stepping in because Don Mikowski got injured and took it over.
Hey, I got to jump. We only got a couple more minutes, and I'm a big baseball fan, so I want to jump. First, the Brewers, you know, defeated the Cubs 3-1, which is huge because the manager of the Cubs is from Wisconsin, and he left the Brewers to go to the Cubs. So,
yeah.
Council and Council's his name, and so good on the Brewers for defeating him and the Cubs, right?
Yeah,
and then,
it was nice.
And then last night too, one of the craziest double plays ever. I think the way it went we'll have to talk about that. We only got like a minute left, but I wanted to breeze through this. They're down one game, 2-1 with the Dodgers. I really, really, really hope the Brewers can pull this off. And
I think it's just
move
one.
on.
I think that was the first game.
Right. The score was 2-1 though.
Oh, gotcha. Never mind.
Hey, no
And
problem. This is our
team-
first time doing sports together, so.
And team member Anthony Siegler, I don't know if he's playing tonight, but he made the roster. He's Navajo.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Yeah.
See, you learn so much more here on Native Roots Radio than you do on these other shows because maybe that should be the tagline. Arvina, again, so grateful for you and being on, and grateful for Merge Wisconsin, and grateful that you're Ho Chunk, and grateful that you come on the show. Really, really, truly appreciate you.
As always, I love being here. Thank you for having me.
Right on. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow, Native Roots Radio. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Nani Chaktawi.
Oh, wow.
Across Native